This is Ohio.
This is Ohio.
So, Ohio is the place to be on Mother's Day.
If you're thinking that way, you must be into birds. And there's this one guy, Tom Bartlett, who knows exactly where to be.
Oh yeah? Where's that?
He sits on a deer stand in the parking lot of Magee Marsh and counts all the species he can see in one day. He's been doing this for 28 years, and he's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for an education center.
That's awesome, but are there cool bird sounds in this story?
If you speak the language, and don't tell him I said this, but Tom is a bit of an odd bird himself.
Baltimore Oriole overhead and warbling vireo. That was a house wren.
Tom Bartlett uses his eyes and his ears to scan the trees and the skies at Magee Marsh.
What is that? It's a sparrow.
On Lake Erie in northwestern Ohio.
White-crowned sparrow.
He has about a dozen helpers closer to the woods, binoculars to their eyes.
Did they all get white-crowned sparrow? There's one on that horizontal branch right there. And now he's moving into the middle of that same tree. And there he goes. Headed to Canada.
See you in a few minutes.
Tom chomps on an unlit cigar.
Ooh, what's that?
He's sitting on a 5-gallon bucket up on a steel hunting stand, about 7 feet in the air. He's counting bird species for his 28th annual Big Sit. It's an event he holds during what the Black Swamp Bird Observatory calls the biggest week in American birding.
Thin leaf tree or dense? Oh, in the back.
Tom's helpers guide him to 2 new species for the day.
Up, 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 up. I got him. Good one. You earned your keep today. You can go home now. Perula and Cape May. Thank you. What time is it? 6:52. Cape May and Northern Perula.
Keys out of the car.
It's not quite 7 a.m. Tom started at 5 a.m., and he has almost 50 species on his list so far.
Well, if you're already at 50, you should break 100 today, right?
Oh, geez. He just jinxed us.
Yeah, we're done now. We might as well go home.
I'm going home.
Meanwhile, the parking lot where his stand is situated is filling up fast. Soon it will be packed with hundreds of cars. The reason this is such a hot birding site at this time of year is that birds migrating north bump into Lake Erie. They drop down to the lakeshore to rest and rebuild their fat reserves before attempting to cross the massive lake. Many of these birds are warblers that are typically hard to see because they live in dense treetops. But here, they can be seen foraging within an arm's length of the birder. The biggest week in birding has long fascinated me, especially as I've read about bird populations decreasing dramatically due to habitat loss. I've just recently learned about Tom's work. I'm looking for a snapshot of the state of birds.
Hey, you're late.
Best sighting of the day, right there. Hello, Tom.
I need one more bird.
For the hour?
No, to get to 50.
To get to 50. Oh, my.
This is Dana Bolin. She is one of many who considers Tom a mentor. She was a director of Magee Marsh beginning in 1987 when it was just opening to the public. She's very aware of how bird populations are trending.
At the time, back in the late 80s, there were literally tens of thousands of birds here and about 100 people who knew what was going on. Mostly locals. Kind of sad, fast forward today, 40 years later, there are 80,000 people who will be here this week, next week, last week, and we have about 100 birds. I mean, there are more that pass through, but that's about what, if I had to count every bird that I saw in a couple hours walking on the trail.
Wait, do those numbers again.
Those numbers are tens of thousands of birds out of the millions that cross the lake into Canada. We would daily get tens of thousands of them. They would find every patch of green along the lake shore. And I don't know if it's good or bad, but human nature is that we covet things that are rare. And the more rare something becomes, the more we covet it. Now we have 80,000 birders from all over the world who have discovered how amazing this place is. And yet at the same time, habitat for these songbirds has been reduced by 90 and 95% in some cases. And ecologists have been sounding the alarm for 30 years, since I was in college. And we are seeing it. We are seeing it today, where we have two bay-breasted warblers and people are like, oh my gosh. And we used to have hundreds and hundreds of them. Our children are inheriting a depauperate world. It's very sad. I wish that somehow we could engage all these people into conservation, even if it was very, very small amount, but it's land, it's habitat.
Back in those early days, Tom was asked to volunteer to help the increasing number of birders visiting Magee Marsh. He said he felt like a fifth wheel. So the next year, he just sat in one spot, counting how many species he could see in one day. He put out a jar and raised over $500. That began a tradition that has lasted 28 years. At last year's Big Sit, Tom raised over $92,000. The proceeds are being used to build an education center on the Black Swamp Bird Observatory.
Do you have an official position in the world, or is this a passion project?
Pretty much a passion project, this. I was a teacher for a while. Now I'm retired and just bird band, and I do have a title. Research Associate, Cleveland Museum of Natural History.
Oh, excellent.
It is nice. That and $8 gets me a caramel latte any place in the country. Is this your first time up here?
Yes. I wanted to come for a long time.
Oh, there's a lot of, it's starting to fill up, but you get a lot of the Amish groups here. Good birders.
I didn't know that.
Yep, good birders. Crappy personalities, but good birders. No offense.
Two Amish friends are down below helping Tom spot birds. He's spoken loud enough for them to hear. One replies, "We have to put up with Tom." The other, "We'll just be quiet when we get something new."
We'll just be quiet when we get something new.
No, you have to yell it out.
It's another 11 months.
Red belly.
The birding slows down dramatically, just past the halfway point of Tom's Big Sit.
I don't think we didn't get a bird that hour. I don't have anything with a 12 on it. That's our first hour with no new birds. Shoot. I know. But you guys got to do some work here. I can't carry you guys all the time.
You got to go in the bush and start beating on them for
If I go in the bush, I'm not going to be looking for birds.
It will stay slow the rest of the day as winds idle and gray clouds sit low in the sky. Though fewer birds are passing through, the flow of people who stop to say hi to Tom is unrelenting. Many know Tom and stop to say hi. Others see his sign and stop to ask questions. The donation jar fills up.
Tom, we need a bell.
A bell?
Ding! A new Big Sit donor right here.
Hey!
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hey!
There you go. You're the bell ringer.
You didn't get a bell.
I didn't get
Hey,
anything.
Steve, ring the bell for Paula, because she's kind of sensitive, and if you don't ring the there you go. That's better.
I am sensitive.
Are you an instructor also? No, I'm example.
Oh, really?
So I was in third grade.
Last hour, Tom.
Hour's over?
Yeah.
1 hour. Actually, 59 minutes according to my watch.
As he enters his last hour of the big sit, Tom has surpassed his worst year, 66 species, but he's 7 short of the previous year and well short of his best year, 112 species. A couple of times throughout the day, during slow periods, I've walked the 50 feet over to the boardwalk and wandered a short way along it into the wetland. There are so many people on the boardwalk, it can feel claustrophobic. But just over the railing that keeps us all together, there is consistent bird activity. An American redstart hops along a tree branch just an arm's length from huge zoom lenses. A prothonotary warbler hops along some dead wood just below our feet. It's a wonder to see such exotic colors and life forms in northern Ohio, and to see such a variety of people, from young to old, with a variety of accents, helping each other spot the small creatures amongst the branches. I imagine the world Dana described, with fewer people and far more birds. Tom remembers before the boardwalk was built, taking this trail, wearing chest waders with only 2 other people.
And we had chest waders. Walked in there and the prothonotary warblers and everything else were going through. It was really neat.
But this is the world we have now. Tom counts his birds, with scores of folks donating up to $3 per bird that he finds, and many others donating flat fees. In the 28 years of his big sit, Tom has raised over $200,000 for the Black Swamp Bird Observatory. As long as there are birds to see, Tom wants to make sure that as many people as possible are able to see them.
They come through in basically 4 waves. And the first wave is usually in April, second wave is usually late April, early May, and then the third wave is mid-May, and then the fourth one is the end of May into June. It's funny here, you come here, June 1st, and there's nobody here. But you walk that boardwalk and you'll get morning warblers and Connecticut warblers and Canada warblers and all this stuff. But everybody thinks after today, the warblers are done. But there's a lot to come.
Music for This Is Ohio is by Matt Jackford.
Special thanks to Tom Bartlett for letting me sit in on his big sit.
This story was produced and edited by Doug Swift.
To see a multimedia version of this story, including pictures of some amazing species of birds, go to our website
at thereportingproject.org.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time. See you later.
See you. I just want to see one on the audio waves.